Okay. Imagine you know nothing about Hollow Knight. It was recommended to you by a friend. So you boot it up, watch the intro sequence, and now you're exploring Hollow Nest. One problem, why? Only after like 5 hours are you given some semblance of an objective. Before that, you're given little reason as to why you're on this adventure, which can be a turnoff to many players. Silksong tackles that issue head on, very minor spoilers if you want to skip ahead, by communicating to the player, hey, just so you know, you are captured and brought to Farloom against your will. Now you're wondering, why is that? Which motivates you to explore. However, I'm sure throughout much of the early game, she's going to be like,
I must go. My kingdom needs me.
How will Team Cherry make it feel both natural and believable that she wouldn't walk out on Farloom's problems first chance she gets?
Oh boy, here I go silksonging again.
Now thankfully, there's a solution that addresses both the players and the protagonist's motivations. Scrap Silksong and make Zote instead. It's easy! Zote wants to be in Hollow Nest. He makes it very clear why, at every moment, without pause. We'd be like Skyrim NPCs on his adventure. And as a Team Cherry on top, you get to ride a cool frickin' boat. Oh, what's that? There's no boats in Hollow Nest? How about in Ari's sketchbook, huh? Okay, but where would you even park one? I don't know. How about in City of Tears? By tying it to one of these dock bollards? That's right, boats were used in City of Tears. Welcome to Taking Inventory. We're gonna be analyzing all the spires, all the background objects, and figure out what the frick is up with Lurien. Some people wonder, was it raining in City of Tears before or after it was established? Plumbing is built into the city's architecture, rather than looking like an afterthought. Though whoever built this gutter wasn't very empathetic to the stags. Nonetheless, the rest of the city was indeed built with drainage in mind. So what would stop a boat from sailing here? Well, for one, all those pikes sticking out of the water. I have no idea what these things are. They're the aquatic version of the Crossroads statues, and I hate them. Because they're right next to the freaking dock bollards. Which is it, Team Cherry? Did they sail boats or not? Because I'm kind of getting mixed signals here. See how far back those spires go? How expansive the blue lake above is? Many of the questions I have are simply explained by how unending the city actually is. Where are the prisons? Probably at another spire. Where did Marissa's flowers come from? Probably another spire. Where did they keep the boats? If they didn't sink, probably at another spire. Where can I find my dad? You guessed it, my local Walmart. That they have at another spire. Even so, with what we are given access to, the knight got really lucky. City storerooms, Soul Sanctum, Watcher Spire, King Station, key locations we use to progress the plot. Almost like we're the main character of a video game of sorts. Thinking about Pilgrim's Way makes my head hurt. I don't care if common bugs walked or stagged or elevated to get here. What matters is where they were sent on arrival, which is here, probably. 1, 2, 3, 4 desks line the descent, manned by, and this is purely a guess, the Hollow Nest equivalent of border customs, tasked with checking that your wagon isn't harboring any contraband lifeblood. Cargo doesn't cross this connecting bridge out of storerooms, so it seems supplies were processed through this spire before being allowed entry. Initially, I was a little confused where cargo ends up afterwards, because it kind of stops existing right before the Hollow Knight Memorial. Maybe merchants set up shops around Fountain Square. No. You already know the answer. It's the boats. Cargo's brought here to the docks and sailed off to wherever it's needed. Hard to tell what product was being moved, besides this goop the community belovingly coined gruzzer milk. And these, food pellets, I think. It seems the city doesn't mind mushrooms staying around, as long as they aren't in the way. I mean, look how far this mushroom wall goes. All the way down to the junk pit. Speaking of plumbing, is water being pushed into the hollowknight fountain, or is this natural rain overflow? This is of course why you clicked my video, for the plumbing lore. There's these two miniature fountains only found on Left Side City. I think they symbolize the common bug, kind of giving me No Eyes vibes, but that's not the point. Watch this. Plumbing! In the fountains! So cool.
What's that right?
Oh, this is embarrassing. I meant the signpost for Lemm's shop. Wait. Is it for Lemm's shop? That center symbol doesn't seem related to relics or history, and I doubt he painted over them. Lemm gives little insights to what this shop once was before he moved in, but thankfully its previous merchandise was left untouched. Vials, bottles, all with pointed tops similar to the signposts outside. I want these to be potions. I really want these to be Hallownest's strongest potions. But with its closeness to Dandytown, probably a wine shop. Fun fact, hanging on the wall here is a little painting of the city spires. That's cool. But who might the artist be? Climbing a little higher, we find ourselves on the set of Hallownest's iteration of The Office. This spire is filled with office things. Stacks of paper, desks with chairs, journal cubbies, more journal cubbies, and filing cabinets. Though I will admit, if it is an office, it's probably in very hot water with OSHA. Not sure what exactly they were documenting here. Maybe something in league with the custom spire? Or maybe it's owned by the Soul Sanctum. I mean, the strategy's genius. Don't waste your time kidnapping test subjects. Just create a dummy corporation instead, with the allure of competitive wages. And the best part, hard workers get promoted to floor 500. I mean, to the Soul Sanctum. A job so fun, nobody ever leaves. Though before we explore there further, I just want to point out this structure hidden nearby in the background. It looks like a shrine to the Pale King. Maybe a stage for preaching. Yeah, that's all I got. Focusing crests. Watch my White Lady Conspiracy for more details, but in short, put one near your head, it'll help you focus. Spells require focus, so it's no wonder scholars get them welded to their foreheads. The symbols lining the wallpaper seem to be the Sanctum's official insignia, and bears a striking resemblance to Spell Twister. Some charms for sure use focusing crests. This charm makes spell casting easier. Spell Twister is probably a charmified focusing crest. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a polished crystal of some kind, as Salubra does say crystals help in focus. The machine we find it inserted in is speculated by Alina to be a step in the process for injecting soul into bugs. Might explain all the mistakes nearby, or maybe it injects soul into items, giving Spell Twister its power. Whatever the case, I just wanted to point out, Alina's sketch includes a portrait of Soulmaster, which seems harmless. maybe that artist from before painted this. And then I saw the orange eyes. Did someone paint Soul Master while he was infected? Am I getting that right? Okay, enough of that. Shift your gaze to that orb. You didn't notice it before because you're not an expert on orbs, unlike me, who's played Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Ah! We find these orbs hanging about the sanctum, but we can't see their contents. I'm guessing here that the sanctum wouldn't use two different containers for soul. So maybe these orbs are reserves for this mystery liquid. It's a murky substance. Maybe rainwater? No other spires have vials like this. Is it a key component to their magical chemistry, perhaps? Or this is a vat of bug guts? Your call. Excuse me?
Oh.
Excuse me, sir? You can't go back there.
Oh, hi. Hi.
I'm the, OSHA compliance inspector. I see. Can I put you on hold 1 second? Okay, go right ahead, sir. A surprising amount of thought was put into the sanctum's decorations. For example, both of the Soul Warrior boss rooms contain an empty chair facing its entrance, implying these guys just sit here, always on the lookout for intruders. There are some dead scholars about, but any kidnapped bugs were very well hidden. Soulmaster was at constant odds with the Pale King, so anything incriminating had to be out of sight. Harvested bugs are kept in a sort of storage room, along with barrels, soul totems, and the Sanctum's Georeserve. I'm surprised the infection never reanimated any of these corpses. Maybe being sucked dry of soul played a part? I'll also point out, this is the only place in City of Tears we find soul totems. I'm sure the Sanctum claimed these artifacts during the city's construction, but what if the ones they didn't? You can only imagine what ancient histories might lie hidden just under the water's murky surface. Welcome to Right Side City, or what I like to call Dandy Town. This is Hollownest High Society, its members the most influential in the land, before the Pale Court, of course. They set themselves apart from the common bug with fine clothing, powdered wigs, and lots of indulgence. The privileges and exclusivities of Dandy Town range far and wide. Banners likely of silk, proudly announcing affluence, sculpted plinths adorning the streets, specialty lanterns in favor of string lamps, fancy pottery just all over the place, and lots and lots and lots of Great Huss sentries. Says enough to their paranoia of outsiders. Let's get this straight. The term Right Side City is very misleading. The Knight only explores 4 of the tens to possibly hundreds of spires. Dandy Town could take up half of the city, or is more fittingly, just 1% of it. This plaza seems to be a residential district, packed to the brim with dandies who I assume were fearing for their lives. But rewind a bit. Look at this room. At first glance, it seems to be a regular grub arena. I'm seeing nightstands, a mirror, and most telling, a portrait. Some dude got their home repossessed. For this? Even stranger, this sentry makes no moves to smash the little green guy to a pulp. Undead bugs can retain instincts from their past life, so if that's the case here, I'm guessing the collector sneakily switched around whatever this bug was originally guarding. Otherwise, That'd be quite the elderly grub. Back in 2021, I posted a theory on these Amelitia flowers, that some magical property they hold kept Amelitia eternal. Doubters said my claims were baseless, and yeah, I was being very speculative. However, there is a word I've kept hidden that ties my theory together. One singular, definitive, very special word that I shan't not reveal until Silksong proves me correct, because it would be quite embarrassing if I was incorrect. We shall see. In the meantime, what did Amelitia mean by getting cast out? Figurative interpretation? She was revoked of her high status and maybe put on house arrest. The more fun interpretation, she was kicked out of Dandytown. Maybe she had to resort to manual labor, trudging about cleaning the royal waterways. Then when the infection hit, she found this crack in the wall, leading her safely back to Dandytown. Sadly, with all that context, the question still remains. What the frick are these flowers? Alright, I'm gonna say it. The spas were here before Hollownest. Look, they produce soul-infused water from those giant stone heads. And why would Hollownest build a spa in Deepnest? Really, guys, come on, it's not a crazy conclusion. Though, props to the city for this one. Natural light from the spa acts like a spotlight upon the renowned songstress Marissa below. But with time, her audience turned to empty chairs. Her stage, a wilted memorial to her passing. What is that? Hey! Oh, is that a ticket booth? Wow, Millabelle, what a great find! So how much Geo was back there? Leading up to the pleasure house, just look how many makeup stations there are. It's highly possible Marissa wasn't the only one performing. Or are, off chance, very public changing rooms for guests. Poggy Thorax's kitchen is fun, giving us a glimpse of the nourishments house patrons might indulge, such as
Bou bourguignon, rancid bisque, choumel à la crème, and of course, polgay tehorix.
Noticeable lack of flukes, though. This bug. This bug right here. The one and only common bug to be found in Dandytown. Standing proud in King Station. Unloading cargo for way richer bugs. But hey, she's a city half full type of gal. Sure, the labor is backbreaking, and she does it every single day all by herself, but you just can't beat those benefits. A humble little apartment, 24/7 swimming pool access, and some literature right at her fingertips. Dandies don't let her use the cushioned chairs. Something about smelling poor. Sometimes she'll take a peek at the beautiful artifact atop this spire. The owner uses it as a talking piece for parties, and it's incredible how many stories it holds. It truly is her dream job. And if she isn't actually an infected husk and has just been hallucinating memories of her past life on loop for eternity, life couldn't be any better. Elevators, both big and small, have no visible wiring, and yet this lever somehow tells it to go up and down. What's the deal? While I can't confirm this for sure, that glass in the base of the lever kinda looks like Spell Twister's focusing crest. If it's anything like real life, crystals can vibrate and receive unique signals, which could be utilized as a form of wireless communication between levers. Otherwise, Team Cherry made a continuity error, which is obviously impossible. Their game is airtight. It's perfect. There are zero loose ends for why certain things happen.
Okay. Just gotta grab the book. Okay.
Look at that! Waterfalls in the background there. Never noticed that. Alright, down to brass tacks. Atop the Watcher Spire lies in eternal sleep Dreamer Lurien, who was... well... okay, I mean... Monomon the Teacher preserves knowledge. Easy. Hair of the Beast? Queen of Deep Nest. Easy. Lurien the Watcher looks through a telescope. Right. Some think he watches for crime. Some think he's in league with the Collector. Some think he initiated a secret second dalliance. Ooh. And some are just completely lost. Like me. So then, it's safe to assume the Watcher Spire was Lurien's place of work. So it must hold crucial details to what that work actually was. Spires up until this point had a general vibe going, so let's see what we can pick up here. First room. Just seems like a general plaza. The only thing I can note is this opening the knight could easily walk through. We just aren't given the option. Thank you, Tumblr post. Next room above is a little more telling. A single bookshelf, a geocache, and tons of fancy jars. At first I thought this was Dandytown's food storage, but the pottery is completely empty. Even the ones outside, they're just all empty. These vases are interesting, for only ever appearing in this spire. Oh, I recognize that sprite. We said before it was a stage. Maybe then Lurien stood here to address his employees? But that floating platform there is just so unfortunately placed. It'd be easy to slide up, give the stage more prominence, which makes me think Team Cherry didn't have this sprite's importance in mind. Up one more floor, and we're met with a room lined with portraits. I tried matching the dandies here and downstairs to the portrait count. No luck. I'm seeing some shelves stacked with vials and, yeah, what the frick is going on? No desks? No stacks of journals? Just a bunch of decorations? Every spire up until this point had a vibe going for it. Cargo customs, the office, dandy lounge, but this? Even the bench room is separate from the spire, which actually does make sense with the use of Left City string lamps. So the tower itself is named the Watcher Spire. But this section of rooms might just be an extension of the first floor plaza. But our analysis here wasn't a waste of time. Let's come back after we have a clearer picture. Next floor up, the Watcher Spire boss room. Only 6 will rise to stop you, but a total of 15 were stationed to protect Lurien. For simplicity's sake, let's assume everything beyond their station is for sure Lurien's workplace. I don't know how Alina figured this out, but apparently, those infected flies are responsible for this boss's strength and speed, which she's kind of cooking. This ballroom definitely wasn't built for a boss fight of this magnitude, especially considering those glass chandeliers. Ballroom definitely sounds fitting, but isn't very telling. I mean, you don't get paid for holding dances. Oh! That geo-chest, the room above. He was getting paid. Or might have been getting paid. I don't know. We're getting somewhere. What else we got? Lots more pottery, 3 dead dandies, and 3 portraits of said dandies, I presume. Their Dreamnail dialogue proves they worked under Lurien, and went down with the ship, per se.
Master, too tired. Cannot watch longer.
these guys might actually be the key to telling us what a Watcher actually does. Writing doesn't seem relevant. No shelves for journals or stacks of parchment, or even a desk. The closest thing to storage is this bulbous thing. There's one next to Lemm and that husk on the scaffolding. I'm guessing it's a luggage bag, but who knows what's inside. So the mini-watchers didn't need to record their sightings, yet were honor-bound to keep watching even after their master's eepy sleepy. Interesting. However, there's a chance they weren't watchers prior to Lurien's eepy sleepy. Instead, maybe they ran his missives. Before we go meet the man upstairs, let's review our findings. Most spires have a general theme, but the Watcher Spire has been quite wishy-washy. The bottom half is a giant plaza filled with pottery and portraits. He has a ballroom, which could have been used for dances, banquets, presentations, who knows? And the geochest implies Lurien was being paid for something, but don't say it's for becoming a dreamer. That put him in a coma. Okay, we're here! Lurien's study. Equipped with a telescope, stone journals, a big painting, more frickin' pottery, and of course, the Cluvius. That telescope is given room to swivel, so I'll assume Lurien had his vision on most of Left Side City, even those spires way in the background. He'd be quite hunched over, sitting at its current angle. Maybe his mask increased the size of his body, like it did Nim. Either way, what was he on the lookout for? The Sanctum's misdeeds? The scholars did have beef with the Pale King, but at the same time, didn't seem impeded in their work. Was he policing the city? The stacks of journals prove he's a writer, but it's so minimal and disorganized. Makes me lean towards diary entries over crime reports. Plus, by the Winged Sentry journal entry,
Flying Sentry of Hellonest patrols the heights of the vast cavern in which the city was built.
I think they had crime covered. Considering all we've learned so far, I don't think Lurien was making societal contributions with his watching. No matter his status or responsibility, he clearly cares for this city. So, sitting in the tallest tower, his watch could have been out of adoration, like a symbolic gesture. And if these three were indeed hardcore followers of Lurien's footsteps, it makes sense he'd commemorate their devotion via these portraits. But I hear you asking, why doesn't Becluvius get one? He's such a good boy! I don't disagree, but his Dreamnail dialogue shows he was specifically watching over Lurien, which means these three portraits were dedicated to Watchers of the City, which the butler, sadly, was not. Now I must preface, that whole paragraph was a game theory, meaning it's very, very speculative. Then again, any discussion around Lurien's story tends to get that way. So let's keep at it! There's one room I've yet to mention, and that's Lurien's hidden study. With all the journals sprawled about, I can only look back to my diary entry theory, but we're not here for that. 'Cause right on that big lore tablet there, boom, grub jar. So, was Lurien cheating on the Pale King with a certain eccentric kidnapper? Ooh! But before you go running to Tumblr, let me read off this transcript from a 2018 Team Cherry livestream.
Why did Hera and Monomon end up getting more depth lore-wise than Lurien did?
Well, probably now, for us, they all have the same amount of narrative. We maybe have revealed less of Lurien's narrative. Yeah, again there's that thing of not everything having to be kind of symmetrical. That means that you don't necessarily need to reveal more about another character. It's just whether it makes sense, given their place in the world and their role, that the player learns more about them. In the end, Lurien is a pretty mysterious character. We don't reveal a lot. Internally, there's a suggestion of a relationship with another character in the game. That was never really hinted in any of the visible lore. We could have pursued that, and it probably would have been interesting. But again, it might have just... There's a point where it's too much. I think some people might have guessed it. Maybe. Never seen that? Maybe. Anyway, we won't say who it is. So, main takeaway? Team Cherry claims there should be no visible evidence proving any connections. But I don't know. They could have misremembered about this symbol. Either way, the lore tablet imprinted with this jar has nothing to do with grubs. So whether or not these two were secretly doing kissy faces up in the rafters, it clearly wasn't prominent enough to define Lurien's place in this story. He is the Watcher. Grub kidnapping, if true, would just be a side hustle. That was everything. From top to bottom, every inch of this stupid spire scoured. So then, who was Lurien? Honestly, I'm 50-50 on this one. Maybe he was mayor of the city, with his spire being the town hall. Dandies would come here to discuss politics and delegation or whatever, and he'd be there to watch over the processions. Maybe we're thinking a little too grand. What if Lurien was just a really rich bug? That would make this spire his personal gallery of all the pottery and arts he's curated. The ballroom could have hosted Hollownest's finest artisans, a stage to share their greatest works amongst their peers. Maybe he himself painted all those cityscapes we found. But that's just a pet theory of mine, as painter supplies are nowhere to be seen. But whether it's crime fighter or an informant for the Pale King, whatever it might be, he'll still sit atop his spire, sipping his morning coffee, honoring this great city with his ever-present watch.